Hey everybody, happy Friday. Welcome back to another coffee chat. We are going to cut it a little bit short today because Andrew has his first party sleepover with some of the boys from school. So he's pretty excited. So he is going to be, I don't want him to be too late. Most of the boys are getting there at 5 and we don't usually end our stream till 5 and it's about a 30-minute retreats or 30-minute drive. So we're going to get there a little bit late, but we will probably try to leave around 5 or 4:45. So we're only going to do a 40 to 45-minute coffee chat today. So sorry for the short notice that it's going to be short, but we will make the most of it. Hello, Dania. Hi, Rana. Hey, Bethany. Hey, everybody. So we are also currently doing our May monthly writing retreat over in the Facebook group for the heart breathings. So if you want to come join, if you're a writer and you want to come join that event, I see a lot of familiar faces for people that were at our morning sprints this morning. Angela is going live at 5 p.m. today. So she will be running our next set of live sprints. So hey, Mazel. Hey, Elizabeth. Tracy, thank you so much. Every time I wear this necklace, I feel like I get so many compliments on it. And I just love that. This necklace came from the Mystical Crow and it's 2 different stones, even though they look the same. So this one is lapis lazuli and these 4 are sodalite. So just a pretty blue crystal gemstone necklace that I got from Etsy, and I really, really love her shop. So it's the Mystical Crow. Really love it a lot. So I've been wearing it as much as I can. I had a full day meeting with Tanya Gonzalez yesterday. She is my, I guess, spiritual mentor would be kind of the best way to really describe her. And we're going to be working together even more closely coming up together soon. So I was with her all day yesterday with her High Priestess Concierge Service is what she calls it. It's kind of a new offering that she's doing where we spent something like 8 hours together yesterday. We started at 9 a.m. and we didn't finish until 6 p.m. with a couple of breaks in between. And it was just such an amazing day. We did guided meditations together. We went through and cleansed my whole house. We set up altars all over the place. So yes, George, I told everyone that I'm ending early today. So I have an altar that she helped me set up completely for my business success here in my office. Now we also have a family space that has some crystals for what we're trying to achieve as a family. And we did so much change yesterday because she said your altar needs to be facing north and mine was facing south. And so I had to move my altar from one side of the room to the other in my bedroom, that cabinet that I've shown you guys before. And because of that, it's I want to sleep next to that altar. And so George and I actually flip-flopped sides of the bed last night. So it was our whole house was fruit basket turnover. We cleansed the house. It's the meditations, the rituals that she gave me and the support that she is giving me is just, you guys, I don't know if you could tell my energy has changed, but it's just I woke up today feeling like a brand new person. And I just am so very grateful for her. I am going to kind of announce this, even though nothing's official with her yet, but the weekend, the Friday before the summer solstice. So the summer solstice is June 20th. And that Friday before, which will be June 18th, Tanya is going to come on as it is planned right now. This could always change the exact time, but she is going to come on and be a special guest. And she is going to talk about lunafesting, which is basically manifesting, but manifesting to the moon. So this is just, I guess I said that wrong because that made it sound like we're going to the moon, but manifesting according to the cycles of the moon, maybe is a better way to put it. So she's going to be here to answer questions. So it'll be a coffee chat with Tanya, which is so amazing. So you guys will get to meet her. I don't know if Miana will be here too, her daughter Miana. So we will see, and it will be amazing. So Tanya lives in Mexico. And she's been there for several years. And it is my dream someday to get down to Mexico to really just come and like hang out with her for an entire retreat or something. So I'm going to make sure that will, that will be a dream that I get to someday. And yes, there will definitely be, it'll be just like a regular Friday coffee chat, and it won't be on Heart Breathings. It'll be right here on Sarah Cannon, and it'll be just our normal coffee chat like we're doing right now at 4 p.m., but she will just be here with us that day, and it will go live after, or it'll go on replay right after. So yeah. And yes, switching sides of the bed is such a big deal. And so it was a little bit strange, but I was like, oh, I'm sleeping in George's divot tonight. It's like his little space, and it was just kind of interesting. I slept like a baby. So maybe that was just the right, like, way I needed to be. I needed to be on that side of the bed. Who knows? So I just, I don't know. So there's a few things that we're going to do today. I don't have any new pictures or a slideshow or anything like that, but there's no real update on the house because the outside is basically going to look the way that you guys saw for now. And they're not doing the inside drywall until our pre-drywall meeting. So on Tuesday, I will go. I'm not sure if George is going to come with me or not because of Evie, but I will definitely go with my realtor, Lee, and we are going to meet with the house builder and everything else. And we are going to go through all the options that we picked for the house. So I know we're doing a navy blue cabinets in the kitchen, or navy blue island in the kitchen with white cabinets. We've got quartz countertops. And so we're going to go through like all of those choices and make sure that they're on the same page that we are. So hopefully after that, we'll start to see drywall going up in the house. And then I'll be able to go in and take some pictures of everything that's happening there. So that is going to be super fun. And it's going to be just amazing to see that process of now the inside of the house. Hopefully they're also on Tuesday going to give us an official move-in date. So I will keep you guys updated, but there's no house. There's also no necessarily like update for the book other than I am in the midst of edits and working my little buns off, and I will do the best I can to keep you guys updated as we get towards the end. I did post the first teaser on Tuesday. For those of you that didn't see it, I posted it in a couple different places. I'm kind of on Facebook at the same time on this computer since I don't have it in my phone, but I will read it to you very quickly. So the first teaser, and this is not, I'm trying to make the teasers where they're, obviously for the next book, but not necessarily spoilery. So amber firelight flickered across the onyx walls, casting shadows inside of shadows. I ran my hand along the time-weathered pages of my spell book, spells powerful enough to shake the very foundation of the world, centuries of carefully laid plans disrupted by a child. I would not underestimate Harper Brighton again. No, this time I would deal with her myself. So that is our first teaser for Vengeful Darkness, which is coming out in just a couple of weeks, like a little over 2 weeks. So it's an adventure. It's going to be crazy. I will definitely be editing up to the last minute because of all the issues with, it's like when the book got pushed back, I thought, oh, this is great because that'll give me a little bit of extra time to do the teasers and get everything ready to go and everything. And then I hit this huge snag with anxiety and then I fell behind again. So, such is life. It's like, I am just never meant to finish things early. It is just not my way of being. So I am going to try to change that coming up. And several people have asked about my 6 months project. And I don't necessarily have a name yet for that 6 months project, but I have had some people emailing me and messaging me and saying that you guys, many of you are interested in kind of joining in on that. So I'm really excited to share that process with you guys. So I need to come up with a name for it. Right now, I'm still just kind of calling it the 6 months project, but it's going to end up being something like the Ideal Me project or the 6 months transformation, or I don't know, everything I think of sounds so overdone or done before kind of thing. And I'm just not sure what I want to call it. So I'm continuing to think. Oh, Elizabeth says, yes, me. So, Right on Will said, I would love to join too. I am so excited that other people, I never even thought other people would want to join in, but this is going to be so much better to have other people joining in. And we are going to do this I kind of played around with the idea of, do I want to put those vlogs over on Heart Breathings, because I'm going to be talking about productivity and life change and other types of things I do talk about on that channel, which, by the way, hit 43,000 subscribers today. So thank you to everybody who's following over there. But I think I have decided to keep those vlogs here on this channel, the Sarah Cannon channel, which again, this week hit 6,000. So that was a pretty exciting week for numbers of followers. So some pretty big numbers there, which is very exciting. So JC says, what are we joining? So I am doing, coming up starting June 1st, I am starting I'm calling it 6 months project, but because I'm starting it in June, it's kind of like a reverse New Year's resolution. So it's going to be by the beginning of next year, I want to have achieved these things. So I'm just going to be focusing over the next 6 to 7 months on changing my energy, really supporting myself. So it's going to be like a focus on supporting my energy, taking care of my energy. And I'm going to be trying to get, like, that's going to involve like eating better, losing some weight, dealing with my PCOS symptoms, decluttering my house, and just in general, trying to really work to find that balance for myself between working and still being able to achieve things, but not working so hard that I'm pushing myself toward burnout. And so it's going to be a real focus time for me on how do I develop the type of life that I want, and that the things that I can control. Like, there are so many things that we cannot control, but the things that I can control, like whether or not my house is cluttered, or I'm buying extra things, or I'm saving extra money, or I'm eating the right things. It doesn't mean it's easy, but it should be at least capable of changing certain things in my life. And it is in no way meant to judge anyone that has different lifestyle or different goals for me. It's just, this is where I want to focus for myself, because I'm in this constant pattern of, I want to do all the things. And of course, I talk about this in HB90, but I need to take it a little bit further for myself, because HB90, my program for 90-day planning and stuff, is amazing. And I love it. And I'm going to continue to use that, of course, but I want to take it a little bit further. And so the goal number 3 for me on my HB90 will be in relation to this particular project. So energy in 6, I like that. That's kind of interesting. I had thought about calling it something like the energy shift. And because that was like the big thing that hit it for me with working with Tanya originally, is because I think I've told this story before, but I was talking about the book, The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. And I had read this book years ago, and I saw some people talking about it in a Facebook group that I was in, and everybody was telling this person, like, you need to get over this like upper limit problem and this depression when you have great success. You just need a mindset shift. And I thought, that is just what everybody always says, change your mindset, change your mindset. But it's hard to change your mindset, especially when you're in the midst of depression, or a real, your mind is just not in the best place, or your energy is in the right place. It's hard to just turn your mindset on and off, because for me, that just wasn't working. Like, I used to have this boyfriend who was a military guy, and he used to say, if I would get upset about something and cry, he would just be like, well, just stop feeling that way. And it was such a thing to him. He was just like, if you don't want to feel that way, then stop feeling that way. And it just used to drive me insane, because I'm like, I can't just not feel that way. I feel how I feel. And so when people say mindset shift, I always feel like they're that guy talking to me again saying, well, just stop thinking that. It's like, it's not that easy. So when Tanya responded to that Facebook post, and she said, what you need is not a mindset shift. What you need is an energy shift. And when I heard of that, it was like some kind of bell went off in my mind. 666. Mason, it'll be my most successful video series yet. But I saw that post that she made, mindset shift, and I immediately responded, what does this mean? What do you mean by energy shift? And how do I do that? Because I just knew some part of my body said, this is what I need. is an energy shift, because that's what I was feeling, is like my energy was so low. I couldn't change my mind. It was almost like my mind was separate from myself, even though I know that sounds crazy. It was like my mind wanted to think the things that it wanted to think. Oh, I was just talking about Tanya. Yay. Welcome, welcome. We were just talking about energy shift and how you and I met, and our great day that we had yesterday, and the fact that hopefully you're going to be joining us for a little surprise visit, maybe on the summer solstice. So that's the thing, is like, how do you change your energy? And that was what I really wanted to know. And that led to me working with Tanya, who is here. I'm so excited. Really in depth. And she has like coaching packages and things where you can work with her intensely for like 6 weeks at a time. And that literally changed the trajectory of my life. And so what I want to do over the next 6 to 7 months throughout these vlogs is I want to, it's never like you change your energy and it's changed forever and you never have any problems again, and like your mindset is perfect and like your life is perfect and you're happy all the time. I don't think that's realistic, because we're humans and we're always going through new things and different stuff like that. We're always, continuing to work through past traumas and, all of that stuff. And so I'm on this next level, I think, for me, where I'm feeling like for the rest of this year, I really want to focus on, instead of trying to prove myself to other people that I'm worthy of success, or that I'm worthy of, the money or the, book sales or anything like that, instead of trying to prove myself, I just want to shift into a place of like quiet joy and peace. And I know I'm still going to have to work really hard. I have no problem with working hard on the things that I love, but I don't want to be working from a place of feeling like I'm going to lose everything, if that makes sense, or feeling scared that I am going to, it's so hard to put it into words, but we'll see if I can do it better when we get to this. So I had considered calling it the energy shift, like Sarah's energy shift or the energy shift. And, if anybody wants to join me on this journey, this will be basically 6 months of vlogs. And I've mentioned this before, it's probably going to be 7 months, because it'll be June, probably to the end of December. But it's not going to be like every single week, because I'm not going to have time for that, but it'll be whenever I have time to do it. So it may not be on a schedule, or it may fall into a schedule, and I'm going to just let it be what it is. Because if I decide that I'm going to do this and then I say it's going to be every week, and then I have to hustle myself and push myself to get a perfect vlog up every week, that's not going to be supporting my energy shift to really work hard, on, self-care and stuff like that. It's just going to be another thing that I have to get done. So I want it to be organic and I want it to feel really good. So I can't promise how many will be, but I will definitely, be posting as many vlogs as possible. Soul Shift with Sarah. Now I really like that. That is really cool. Sarah's Level Up series. That's a good idea too. Yeah. Kim wants to join the journey too. And that is the thing. Yes. Mason, see, you and I get each other on this. We probably have past that we could talk about that's similar. That constant panic of running away from an invisible failure. Even if that failure, I hear a baby upstairs. Even if that failure is totally like unrealistic, sometimes George will be like, what, why are you even worried about that? That's not going to happen. Like, that's ridiculous. But then I always say, like, it doesn't have to be logical. It's just that our minds can sometimes convince us. And if our energy is low, this is something that I've really come to understand. If our energy is low, or my energy is low, and it's in the wrong place, like I'm turned around and I'm facing downward and I just can't pull myself out, it's impossible for me to shift my mindset and to make good choices or to see good things coming in my life. And I start to focus on the things that are going wrong. And then it starts this really negative spiral. And so, what Tanya did for me with this High Priestess concierge, and we spent the whole day yesterday, was really just like shift that energy 100%. And it was so healing and so beautiful. And I'm just so very grateful for that, because that was just a big a big day for us. And I really will forever be grateful for that. So during this process, I'm going to be working with Tanya, continuing to work with Tanya in those coaching sessions. And if you want to, I think she put her Gmail there, that's tarotlifecoach@gmail.com. So I think she still has some slots. If anybody's interested in doing something like that, you can definitely go check it out as well. Or SHIFT could be an acronym for something. Yeah, that could be cool. So yes, Mizelle, only seeing the negatives. And it's like, you could be surrounded by things that are going right. But if you're in that low energy where everything, like I was telling Tanya just yesterday, that it was like after we did this sort of guided meditation, it was almost like somebody had taken a helmet off of my head, which I know sounds so crazy, but it's like, I feel like I was under such a weight of like a depressive feeling that it was like claustrophobic almost. And once that started to clear, it just made me feel so much lighter. And I slept better than I have in a long time. I made better choices with my food today. I did not get any chance to clean the office, but I did write a bunch of words this morning, and I just feel like it just shifted everything. And then once your energy shifts and you're able to look at things in that different way, then you start to notice the positive things. You start to feel hopeful. You start to see the opportunities around you. And so that's the big thing for me. But, this series of vlogs will not be about coaching. It'll just be about like taking you guys along this journey of, watching me clean out the house, move to a new space, really get it set up the way that I want. And the reason that I want to cover that here on this channel is because I'm going to be talking about the witchier things, kind of like, I'm going to be talking a little bit more about, somebody asked about my Book of Shadows, which is just kind of like a thing that I want to set up that has some of my tarot readings and different things like that in it. And I'm going to talk about clearing energy and just kind of witchier things that some of the Heart Breathing's general group may not find as appealing, because it won't be, I don't know, it's just witchier. And I think you guys will like it here on this channel, even though some of you follow me in both places. So Brene Brown does a thing about how people look at their sleeping child and feel the love and then immediately think, what if the bad thing? Yes, that is so true. That is so true, because we are scared to lose what we have. Laura, I think a lot of times we feel like we don't deserve the good things if we don't pay for it with something on the other side. And I think that's very true. And I think that can be even worse, or a thing that you go to much quicker, when you have grown up with parents who made you feel that you had to earn their love, like that you were always doing something wrong, that they would withhold love from you if you didn't do it exactly right. And then no matter what you did, it was never good enough. And that's kind of how I grew up. And so you always feel like you have to prove, you have to earn, you have to, and then when somebody abandons you or somebody says that you did a bad thing, it's just like everything falls apart. And so, that's a lot of stuff that you have to heal. And, we all are going to be on separate journeys as to what you've been through in your life. And some people have been through a lot harder times than I have, that's for sure. But we all have the opportunity to shift our energy and to choose better things for our lives in the things that we have control over. And once we can take control of the things that we do have control over, like what we eat, how much sleep we get, and the other things that we can control on an individual basis, I think our whole lives can get better, and we'll rearrange around that feeling. So I think it is good. So Inel says, do you have a grimoire or would be interested in one? Marley's Designs on IG custom makes amazingly beautiful ones. I want to order one soon to make a spiritual journey for my journal for my journey. It's actually back here in this cart. I just have an Archer and Olive that I've shown before. It's a bullet journal that has craft paper, black paper, and white paper that I was going to use. And I have not set it up. So somebody asked that in the Facebook group. So let me find that question. Do you think we could get an update, Taryn says, on how your Book of Shadows is coming along if it isn't too private? I literally have not touched it because I have not had time. And this is one of the other things is, when you're busy, and you feel frantic all the time, you start to miss out on some of the other, like, just relaxing things. Now, HB90, like I said, keeps me from feeling like burned out all the time or like super frantic like I used to be, because I know everything I'm doing is valuable and it's making a difference, but I'm still just working too many hours, and I'm still have a hard time saying no to other people. So, I want to create more time for things like that. So in that 6-month set of vlogs, I will most definitely be setting up that grimoire with my spells, my, things that I'm learning from Tanya about different crystals. Different crystals that I've connected with or things that I've bought. And I'm going to put all that stuff in there. So, but I have not looked at Marley's designs, and I have a feeling if I go look, I'm going to want to buy one. So thank you for that. I'm going to go check it out. So Bethany says, anxiety makes me want to always delete every word I write, and I feel like the worst writer ever. Any cure for that? That is so hard, Bethany, and I feel that. The cure really is to just keep going. I mean, you're going to have to push yourself through it to a degree. One thing that really helped me, and I know might not help for everybody, and it really depends on who you get to work with, but one of the things that helped me push past that in a big way was working with critique partners. And I met one set of critique partners. My very first ever critique partner was from RWA. So I had a local group, like, if you're in an area where you have like a local writers groups or anything like that, I had met a woman named Karen, and she introduced me to another woman named Jen, and we started meeting up together. But they wrote like adult romance. So Karen wrote for Harlequin, Jennifer wrote for Bethany House, I think it's called. And is that right? It's like inspirational romance, like Christian historical romance. And I wrote young adult zombies. And so we just didn't fit as well. I learned a lot about writing from them, and they were great critique partners. We met once a week at Panera back when I lived in Raleigh, but there was a disconnect on what we were writing. So I joined NaNoWriMo and went out to the local write-ins and stuff. And that's where I met Jen Robinson. And you guys have seen her. I think she's here every once in a while, JD Robinson. She has a small YouTube channel here as well, and she's on Wattpad and stuff. She and Erica Reeder, who is here sometimes too, we met up through NaNoWriMo, and we started working together. And that started like years of getting together. I think every Wednesday night we got together for years. And then we did eventually invite a guy into our group called Alok. And we were all writing similar types of like fantasy or urban fantasy stuff. And that was so incredibly helpful, because if you have somebody that you can exchange work with and you get together with them, be it on a Zoom call or in person, and you can say, you hear their feedback and they say, here's what's really good. Oh my gosh, I really loved that. And then they'll say, but you know what, you could do this better. I didn't understand this part. And you start to really learn. That will give you the confidence to keep going. When you are writing and it's very solo and lonely and nobody's reading your work, or worse, somebody's reading it that's giving you bad feedback, like this is terrible, blah, blah, blah. That is not going to help your confidence. But if you can find someone who is kind of on a similar level to you that can help encourage you, like a real true writing friend, that can be one of the best things to help with your anxiety and your confidence, because it's going to help you continue. And it gives you that outer accountability of, well, I got to have a new chapter ready by Wednesday for my friend to read. And so if you can find a group like that, I think that would really, really be helpful. And for me, NaNoWriMo, local writers groups, you could find somebody in the Writing Sprints group. You could find somebody here on Fridays that you say, or come join my Discord server and say, actually, we just added, this is a good segue. George just added let's see what he called it. In the writing section of the Discord server, he added a place called Connections. And in that Connections, it's just for people to post, hey, I'm looking for a critique partner, somebody to help exchange. And, when you're critique partners, that means you exchange with other people. So it's not beta reading where just they're reading your work and giving it feedback. So you have to be willing to invest the time to read their stuff as well. But if you need help with that, that might be a place that you can connect with people as well. So definitely try that. And yeah, it's finding somebody to click with, that's why I said it's kind of, it's kind of up in the air, because that first critique group, like I said, they were great. They gave good feedback, but they didn't really get the YA thing. And so sometimes they would criticize things that like, this is juvenile, whatever. And I'm like, well, it is teen fiction. So this is like how they would talk because they're like 15 years old. They're not historical fiction, kids. So that disconnect kind of hurt my confidence a little bit, but I knew that there was a disconnect. But then when I moved into that group with Erica and Alok and Jen, it was like finding my people. They were just incredible. And we worked together for years, and it changed my life. Their feedback, their confidence, their friendship. And, if you have a local group that you can find, go for it. If you can't find a local group, see if you can find a group online. Brittany, I wish I had a local writing group. The closest is the SCBWI, which is 3 hours away. Yeah, that's a trek. But still, 3 hours, it might be worth going to meetings once everything opens back up. It might be worth going to one of those meetings and seeing if you can connect with people, or a writer's conference when things open back up and things like that. Rana says, would you recommend paid critique companies? Not usually, no. Most of the people that I know who have gone through like a paid critique type thing have just had bad experiences, because you don't know who you're getting. You don't really, I won't go too deep into it, but I would say usually I don't. I would say, when it comes to editors, you want to go on, maybe getting a sample edit so you can get their voice, they get your voice, they see that you're on the same level. But when it comes to like paid critique partner or something like that, or a group, I don't know. I think a lot of times people have bad experiences with those. So if you find someone that has said like, this is the one to use, that I've had great experience with them, maybe you could give that a shot. But for the most part, it's like, I would be hesitant on that. All right. So couple other questions. Pepper had asked, what is your favorite food? I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Favorite food is hard. I love corn. And so corn is like always in my favorite food somewhere. It's like corn and pineapple hey, Tanya, it's yellow foods. I didn't even think about that. I should be eating my yellow foods. We kind of talked about this yesterday. Hi, Sally. So yeah, corn and pineapple. I love pineapple in everything. Like if I get Mexican food, I want pineapple in it. If I get pizza, I want pineapple on it. So I love pineapple and I love corn. It's like if you could just give me like 3 ears of corn slathered in butter, I would just eat that with salt on it like for the rest of my life, which I know is a weird thing to love, but I really do internalize the yellow. Exactly. So I love that, but yes, piña and corn. I didn't even think about that, but those were like both on my mind. So I'm gonna have to get some of that. One thing that I could never eat as a child, I hated, was hamburgers. But then when I was pregnant with both of my children, I craved hamburgers. And it's so funny because now that, Evie is getting older, it's like, I really don't usually want hamburgers or hamburger meat at all anymore. So it's just funny how that your tastes can change based on pregnancy or not. I think it was that like need for iron in your diet and stuff. But I love pizza. I love steak when I get a really good one. Hate it when it's not very good. But yeah, I think like just corn on the cob is like one of my favorite all-time foods. Strange maybe, but I love it. Let's see. Christy, where and how did you come up with the idea for the shadow demons? So I've talked about the idea for the first book, but if you mean, I don't know if Christy's here or not, shadow demons, like as in the actual demons and them moving around, or the series, the shadow demons, because I do actually have a video here on YouTube about what was the original like idea. I was binge watching Veronica Mars and just thought, wouldn't it be cool to have a snarky kind of outcast heroine who is solving murders and stuff, but is a witch. So like Veronica Mars, but make her a witch, right? And that's kind of was the original idea when I called it Beautiful Demons because I had this idea that it would be like demons cheerleaders, but maybe there's going to be demons appear in the series. But I did not know at that time that some of my main characters I had already been writing, or one in particular, was actually a demon. When I actually came up with the idea for the shadows, here's part of how that happened is I had been reading The Golden Compass and those series, his Dark Materials by Philip Pullman. And I loved this idea of having a demon, but they spell it Daemon, that is connected to you kind of with an invisible sort of connection, right? So you've got Lyra. If you've seen that or you have read those books, let me know in the comments. But if you have watched that, you know that when the kids are little, their demon spirit can change and they shift into animals. So, you know, Lyra's might be a bird sometimes, and then it changes into a bear, or it changes into like a little mole, or, you know, whatever. So it changes all the time. But then once they hit puberty, basically their demon will settle into a single animal, and it will stay that animal forever. And if you've watched the series on HBO, they do a really good job of showing how the demon sort of is an external view of or representation of kind of like the soul. It's like if this person has a snake that's really slithery and dark or whatever, maybe their soul is dark. Or like Lyra's, what is her name now? I can't remember her name. You guys, I have such a hard time recalling stuff when I'm live. But you know, the main adult woman in that series, I can't think of her name now, but she's kind of like kind of mean and evil or whatever, but she has a monkey or whatever. And it's like red haired and it's like mean, but she's really mean to it. I don't know. It's just, I think they do a really good job of showing that relationship. And I had this idea when I was talking about some of the things that were going on, or, you know, talking about some of the things I wanted to put into that second book of the series. I started imagining how cool would it be if sometimes Mrs. Coulter, thank you, Tigger, so much for that. Yay, Becca too. Thank you, Mrs. Coulter. She has that, I guess it's a monkey, but it seems bigger than a regular monkey. But I thought, how cool would it be if when people were walking by, their shadow was an animal? And then I started thinking about Brooke, who you see later has like a horse is like hers. And that's also the tattoo on her back. And so that started getting me thinking about that particular idea of having your own demon, but an inner demon, like trapped inside of you rather than on the outside. And then what if it wasn't just like a magical thing? It was like they were actually like people-like things. So, which actually brings me to something that I wanted to talk about, which is, oh gosh, and it's 4:36 and we're leaving soon. Oh, I'm not going to get to everything today. A couple of inconsistencies that I wanted to mention, or things that I wish I hadn't written, or I wish I could change from this last episode. First of all, I call the Kingsguard Sentinels, and I really don't use that term later. Later, I just call them the Kingsguard. And so that's something that it's like, oh, I really should just remove that or go back to calling them Sentinels or whatever. The other thing is, Harper gets a potion from Juiced, which of course I had not come up with the potion maker really Rend at that point, but Juiced makes this potion for Harper and for Mary Ann, that when they get into the shadow world, they take this potion. Because as I was writing it, I was thinking, when I originally show Airden in his demon form, that she sees him at the end of Beautiful Demons, he looks kind of like a gargoyle, right? And so that's the way I had it in the beginning, because I hadn't planned out that these were going to be like actual characters in my book that we would get to know and that we would fall in love with. And so when they get to I guess when we get to the section here where they've moved into the shadow world, then we talk about like, are they going to walk into this underground and there's just going to be all these things that are like gargoyles and Jackson's going to look like a gargoyle? I just couldn't make that work in my head. So I really kind of have Harper take this potion, and then it kind of never gets mentioned again that they like look different in demon form. And I just kind of let it go. And looking at it now, I wish that I had just made it to where when they're in the demon world, they just look like humans, unless they've shifted into their shadow form. And that's kind of the way it is in my head, but it's just one of those kind of funny things. So, all right, I'm not going to get to all these questions, but I will answer as many as I can, but they'll be coming downstairs soon. If you joined us late, we are ending our live stream at about 4:45 because I'm going to take Andrew to a sleepover. Nicole said, right now I'm struggling to get anyone to sign up to be an alpha or beta reader. I thought it was because I only have 2 books published and they're in a completely different genre. So how did you find your alphas and betas? Nicole, I'm not going to answer this question right now because we're short on time, except to say that there is a video video coming up where I'm going to talk about how I found my beta readers on Heart Breathing. So I'm going to save that for there. Debbie had said, I haven't pre-ordered Vengeful Darkness, and I'm hoping you're going to be offering some signed copies. So the paperback version of Vengeful Darkness is not on pre-order. It's just the ebook, because I'm going through Amazon and they don't allow paperback pre-orders. But there will be pre-orders, or there will be paperbacks coming. They'll just probably be like a few days after the main book, depending on how long it takes me to get the covers from Raven. But I don't think I'm going to offer signed copies at this time for this particular book, because I don't feel like I have time to do it. And because we're in the process of moving and it's been taking Amazon potentially like a month to get paperbacks out, I'm afraid that what will happen is I'll get like 200 paperbacks and then we'll be moving them to the new house and things might get lost. So right now I'm not going to do that, but I will be offering signed copies of Vengeful Darkness when the final book in the series comes out. So stay tuned. Ashley, how do you keep up with using your planners? I have a few that I want to use, but I can never keep up with using them. By the way, you guys, I just got these in. Look how cute. I mean, is this just one of the cutest covers you've ever seen in your life? They also have this one in mid-century circles, which I love. This is the Just My Type vertical planner. It's very neutral and minimalist look to it. This will be my like family gaming and, you know, I guess like family gaming, family memories type planner. And I'm very excited about it. It's an 18-month one and it's a gold coil. This is like an example of, I just really wanted it, but I didn't necessarily have any kind of like perfect idea for how I wanted to use it. But, you know, it's one of those things. So I also got the Daily Duo, which I use for my time tracker. And this is the Flora cover. And they actually have a planner that's in this like line drawing pastel colors, but it doesn't come in the daily one. So this is the mid-century circles design on the inside, but I just got that Flora cover. So very cool to have those. But in terms of how do you use your planner? What I would say is what I feel like so often we do when we first start seeing other people are using planners and we think we want to use planners is we just buy the planner without really having an idea of what we need. And so we end up buying something that isn't really what is going to serve our lives or what we need right now. And so what I would recommend if you're just really trying to get started with planners and you really want to use one is sit down before you buy anything and think about, what do you need to track? What do you actively track? Do you have anything in a notebook right now? Do you track your meal plans? Do you track your steps? Do you track how many words you're writing? Do you track your appointments? What do you currently track, or what do you need to get better at tracking? And that'll give you an idea of what type of planner layout you need. And then once you kind of have that idea, then you can order the planner that's going to match what you need, rather than trying to order a planner and then make your life match the planner, because that's never going to happen. Over on my Heart Breathings channel, I do have a Planner 101 series. It's in a playlist where I talk specifically about how to choose the right planner for you, because I think that the number one problem most people make is that they don't pick the right type of planner. And I think that's one of the big issues. So then you don't use it because you don't pick the right planner. I've got my iPad out on my desk because I was going to show you guys some iPad stuff, but I'm not going to have time for it. So now she's playing with it. Okay. So Kim said, when you set intentions, how do you keep track to see if you are keeping them? So when I set intentions, mostly what I'm doing is I'm setting goals. So the HB90 system is really how I do the majority of that. Is I set 3 main goals and major projects that I want to keep up with. And that is how I work into that plan, how I'm going to track it. So if I say my intention is to get 10,000 steps a day, then I will not only decide that I want to get 10,000 steps a day, I will also decide that I'm going to track it in my which journal or which planner. I'm going to track it in this little box in this planner every single day. Then the key becomes, how do you get into the habit of actually keeping track of that number every day? And for me, I have to attach it to something else. And so I have to say, like, okay, if I want to track this every morning, then what I need to do is the second they leave the house to take Andrew to school, I'm going to sit down for 10 minutes and I'm going to track my time. I'm going to track yesterday's steps and how much sleep I got done. So that is one of those kind of things of, making sure that you not only have an intention, but you know how you're going to track it and what you're planning to do with it. So that's kind of my best advice there. All right, I can do one more question, and then I'm going to actually answer Danya's question, which was the last one. Are you going to make more side stories on Shadow Demon Saga? Do you have any suggestions on writing magic? I seem to struggle a lot on writing how my MC uses their powers. Okay, so yes, I am planning to write more. Somehow she found a YouTube and is now playing YouTube. I mean, how kids can navigate devices that fast just amazes me. So yes, I am planning to write more side stories, and hopefully if there's time, I have a side story that I was already working on, and I hope I can finish it before this book comes out. If not, it'll be just shortly after this book comes out. Bye, Lisa. But there are more side stories to come. I do really still want to write actually like another side series, but we will see. There may be some questions coming about that with the way that this book ends. And I will just leave it at that. There are going to be a couple of different major cliffhanger, dun, dun, dun kind of moments at the end of this. And one of those moments might lead into a side spinoff series, potentially. But we're just going to leave that off and just say I have hopes, but no set goals yet. In terms of writing magic, that is hard. I think the number one thing that you have to do is really start to figure out what are the rules of your magic system first. Like, what are the capabilities? What are the rules? There's usually some kind of sacrifice. So if, you can't have just unlimited power. So do your characters get sick? Do they have to have a reagent like you have in The Witch's Key? So you got to set those rules and really come up with your magic system first. And then once you know the magic system and how everything goes, then you can start to describe the magic. And of course, I could go into that more when I have more time, so we can bring that up again. Yay! After 3 nephews, you're finally getting a niece. Did you say she's getting induced tomorrow? Ah, that's so exciting. Is Sacrifice Me completed? Yes, Sacrifice Me is completed. And I know that it leaves off on a moment that you think, oh, I want more, or hopefully you wanted more. You will see some of Frankie and how things are, going with her in this book, Vengeful Darkness. But as far as I know, it is finished, and that is just the end of their story. But if I ever write a Venom spinoff where I'm going to talk about the characters like Azure and Marco and some of the other dancers and stuff like that, then I will it'll be kind of like a continuation of Sacrifice Me, because it will have Ren's and Frankie's point of view in it as well. All right, so that is our time. And I'm sorry I didn't get to share my iPad stuff because I wanted to show you guys how the GoodNotes stuff works on there, but I will show you next week when we get a chance. And that's all good. So we're going to head out and take Andrew to this little sleepover that he has, and have a great weekend. I hope you all have an awesome weekend. If you want to come join the Writing Sprints group on Facebook, there might be a link to it down below. If not, you can go to Facebook and just search for, I think it's Heart Breathing's Word Sprints. I don't know. It should be connected to my Heart Breathing's Facebook page, and come join us. We're pretending virtually to be in Paris this weekend, so it's a lot of fun, and I will be live tomorrow and Sunday, and Angela's about to go live in about 12 minutes, so that's going to be fun. And of course, on Monday, we have episode 3 of Rival Demons, so I will see you guys then. You want to say bye? Bye. She's into this iPad. All right, you guys, love you so much. Sorry that we're ending. So Heart Breathing's Word Sprint Challenge is the name of the group. So we will see you guys on Monday. Have an awesome weekend, and I will see you there. Bye.